Hi everyone. I believe that we are ready with our text notes and preparation for the class, right? So let's welcome our dear teacher, Venerable Katie. We are very happy to have you with us. And so we are all looking forward for your guidance. And thank you so much for being here and be ready for the first day. Thank you.
Now it is. Hello. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this first class of the Bridge to the Diamond Way, Part 5. We are here with our precious, holy, venerable Cotting, and she's going to be giving us a warm-up class from Bridge to the Diamond Way, Course 4. Enjoy her. She's magnificent, and those teachings were amazing. Thank you, Venerable Cotting.
I'm waiting for the thumbs up from the turntable, but the light is so bright. Okay. Well, greetings and welcome to the catch-up course for Door to the Diamond Way Series 4, originally broadcast from Kyoto, Japan in December 2025. Now, it's amazing, right, that Holy Geshe Michael will be teaching Diamond Way courses this year, right? And that's, oh, and all we need to do, by the way, is complete the 6 beautiful Lam Rim courses that he's teaching in person, then complete the homeworks, do the quizzes, do the final, and there he is in the fall with Diamond Way courses, door wide open. So that's the reason you're here now. You missed that course, and being in this class now, you're one step closer, crossing that door. So during the next 6 months, by the way, I'm going to continue offering catch-up courses online by request, okay? And I pretty much offer the transmissions word for word from Geshe Michael so that we can keep this personal segment of our Diamond Way lineage correct and tight, straight from the mouth of our Diamond Way master, intact. But since we only have an hour to cover the material from 3 one-hour classes of Course 4, a lot of the anecdotes are going to be left out now, okay? So if you want to catch those anecdotes, please reach out to me on the Door to the Diamond Way catch-up Telegram group, and you'll hear them all straight from Grandpa's mouth. So be sure to write down today's date on your homeworks, and that you took the course from me in person here at Diamond Mountain or online, okay? So here we go. Our dear Geshe Michael opened the class by saying, this is Lam Rim, and it's to prepare you for the Diamond Way. And I quote him, it's hopeless, he says. Geshe recently taught the greatest Lam Rim in the world for 14 years, right? I'm sure a lot of you were there. But some people asked him to teach Diamond Way, and he's been worrying about it for months, how in the world he could possibly do it. He's been praying for guidance, and he has a proposal, which he wants to share with us today. And then after this proposal, he's going to start to teach you a Diamond Way. So to study Diamond Way, to practice Diamond Way, you need an empowerment, right? Which is basically permission. It's permission from the teacher to study Diamond Way. Now, what is Diamond Way in general? You know, supposedly, he says it takes billions of years to become a Buddha. It takes billions of years even after you decide. Even after you get bodhicitta, it can take a couple 100,000 of years. So traditionally, there's a quick path, a way to reach the Diamond Way goals in one lifetime. And that's the Diamond Way. It's very beautiful. It's very fun, very happy, and he says it's very cool. Now, there are rules about teaching it, how to teach it, where to teach it, who to teach it to. And Geshe Michael says throughout this class that he's very happy to teach it to you. In New York in 1993, he started writing and teaching the ACI courses. It was divided into 18 parts, and he taught it for 6 years. And if you study the 18 courses, the foundation courses, you basically got the same information as you would get in a Geshe degree. And you're getting a great, strong foundation studying those 18 courses. And Geshe told his students, if you finish the 18 courses, he will teach us Diamond Way, right? So at the end of the foundation courses in 1999, he decided to do a 3-year retreat, partly to prepare for Diamond Way. And he would think about it in 3-year retreat, you know, for 3 years, in 1,000 days, how to teach Diamond Way. And he wanted to do it in a very, very organized way, you know, like they teach at Princeton. You go to class number 1, then class number 2, you do your homeworks, you know, you prove that you understand the material, and you go through each of the steps. So he took all the Diamond Way teachings, he translated them, and he organized them into one course made of 18 courses. And he thinks it's the first time anyone has ever done that in history. And it's a great course, a really good course, and he even calls it, you know, high class. Then he made it very, very tough to enter this advanced course of study. You know, he said that we had to finish the first 18 courses before you could study the Diamond Way courses. And we probably started here at Diamond Mountain with 80 people who survived from those New York classes. And the first who came to Diamond Mountain in like 2003, of those 80, it probably reached 100 over the 6-7 years. We followed the course exactly, and he had translated many thousands of pages of the Diamond Way text, and he took the best of the best. No one has ever done that before. Geshe chose the greatest books in each category, and this Diamond Way course is the best of the best, the cream of the cream. Now, at the same time, we were building Diamond Mountain, and it was a lot of stress. He thinks it cost us about $1 million, and all any of us had was $20, you know, to build this place, to build the houses, to build the toilets, water system, and it was very stressful, and it was very difficult. So to do the coursework at the same time, it was difficult and stressful and thousands of hours of work. Now, towards the end, Geshe thinks like 3/4 of the way through, he said he just couldn't do it. He couldn't keep up. And so some of the courses were never finished. He taught the classes from the Tibetan books, but he didn't have time to translate them, nor to write the homeworks properly. It was way too much stress on him, and it was far too difficult because he was also doing much of the fundraising. So he never really finished the courses, but we did get through the 18 courses. Many of us finished, and then we did a 3-year retreat. And for 15 years, Holy Lama didn't teach, although he kept translating that material and he kept studying it. Now, fast forward to Kyoto 3 years ago, and he was with a special group of business people, CSP. He had taught them for many years in China, and 2 of them are like, hey, Geshe, teach us Diamond Way. And for some reason, Geshe does not understand. He just said, okay. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute. And they said, you promised. And he says it happened exactly like that. He didn't plan it. He had no idea to teach Diamond Way. He didn't want to teach Diamond Way, but they had asked him so sincerely that he couldn't say no. It's very cute. And then you know what happens in this situation, right? Other people, they hear about it and they say, can I join? Can I join? And he's like, I don't know. I don't have a place. I don't have time. But again, he said, okay, I'll do it and people can join. So Geshe just taught the first group in a relaxed way. And they finished 3 years of preparation a few weeks ago, just recently. And a few other people have joined from other groups. And all this time, he's been preparing a Diamond Way course for them. Now, he's going to start the empowerment for them this year. But there's a big but. He has a kidney problem, right? He didn't know he had a kidney problem. And he's going to do a transplant that requires like a year of preparation. It requires a lot of technical stuff. It requires a kidney, yeah, that too. And everything's now ready. He can't guarantee when he can teach Diamond Way or how he can teach Diamond Way, but everything's looking okay. And they think they'll do it in the next 6 months, which is very cool. But none of us know for sure. So we're going to have to wait for everything to come together. So before he promises you Diamond Way, he has to warn you that he can't promise the date that he can do your empowerment. And we're just going to take it month by month, okay? Now, where do we do it? At this point in the class, he's wagging his finger and he says, don't be so serious, I got a good proposal, he said. It's a happy proposal. So one of the groups, mainly the CSP group and other CSP-related groups, they bought a large piece of land near Geshe-la's house. And it's super beautiful with a wonderful classroom that can fit 150 people. And it's so near dear Geshe Michael's house that if he has a kidney transplant or something, he can almost walk there. So part of the idea is that we could teach it there, if necessary, okay? Then he says he has a logistics problem, Do I put all your groups together? Or do I try to teach 10 different groups, he's asking, That's a lot of time. And his time is extremely tight. His day's extremely tight. He doesn't know how long his life's going to be. So it's difficult for him to teach it 10 times or something like that. And it would be much better, he said, if he could just throw everybody into one group, right? But then each group has a very different personality. The CSP people, he's been teaching them for almost 10 years. And some people in this class, he's never met you before. And so it's very difficult for him to just mix everybody together. Each group that he shares his teachings with, they are very different. And each one has a different personality. We have a YSI yoga group. We've got the Asian Classics Geshe course group. We've got the business group, DCI. Thousands of people studying business or success systems, non-religious. And then we have YP and SLP. DSEU, and he doesn't think one Diamond Way course is going to fit everybody. So then he starts talking about his beautiful wife, Veronica, angel of his life. And he tells the story of seeing a cowboy store in Cottonwood, She says, hey, I'm going to pick up some jeans, And he says, okay. So they went in there. And of course, there's no chair for the guy, He has to stand up. And she tried on 42 pairs of jeans that day. And Geshe Michael's just standing there, He counted them. And how many did she buy? 0. And he always remembers that, he says, because teachers are like jeans. And every person has the teacher that will fit them. Geshe-la says he's a tight pair of jeans. Not everyone can put on me. Everyone needs their teacher who will fit them. You know, you try to get into tight jeans and you're going to be uncomfortable for a long time. Get into jeans that are too big and they're going to fall down. So everyone has their own teacher that they're attracted to. And Geshe-la says again, he's so happy to share the Diamond Way with you. He's not selling Diamond Way. The classes are free. He's not asking you to please come to my Diamond Way course, you know. If you want, if you're serious, he's happy to teach you. And if you're not serious, he says he'll still teach you, okay? But, you know, he's a busy guy, you know. He's got a lot of things to do, and he doesn't have to teach anymore. But he's very happy to teach, he says at the same time. And he's been struggling so much in this. How do I teach 10 different groups, 10 different Diamond Ways? So what he came up with, and this is a homework question, so I hope you've been paying attention to this long story. Here's his proposal. He has those 18 courses from the old days, right? He never finished them. The readings were never finished. Even the readings he finished, he didn't clean them up before he went to the next course because he didn't have time to finish. He would like to now finish those courses in a beautiful way. They come from many Diamond Way classics. And of course, due to John Brady's kindness, we have many Diamond Way books. We have thousands of Diamond Way books, and they are unbelievable, very, very beautiful. And what he would like to do is, and he told us he started it this morning, he would like to clean up all those courses, translate those books. He has other Diamond Way books that he finished in the last 10 years, in the last 15 years, and he would like to consolidate all of that. Then he would like to design Diamond Way courses for each group. So, YSI, if the new director of YSI is interested, he would be happy to design a special Diamond Way course just for YSI people. And then he would like to design a course for the Five Houses people, a separate Diamond Way course, and then another Diamond Way course for DSEU or for CSP. And he would like to create an institute at that beautiful property he was telling us about, in that building where he could do that work. And it's kind of like a Dharma Einstein place, you know, where he can create Diamond Way courses for each different group. Who's interested? Because he doesn't think one pair of pants is going to fit everybody, okay? He doesn't think he can teach everybody the exact same Diamond Way course. And he proposes, are you ready? Hold on to your chair. He proposes a Diamond Way course for DCI, which is non-religious. A principle of DCI, okay? We don't teach religion. We teach DCI. Now, Geshe-la's taught DCI in Pakistan to Muslims, in Israel to Jewish people, right? He taught DCI in America to Christian people. He taught Communist Party members DCI. And he thinks DCI needs a totally different Diamond Way. DCI needs its own Diamond Way, and it should be appropriate for people who are not religious and for people who don't want to be religious. And he thinks there should be a Diamond Way that doesn't have to be religious, because Diamond Way is a way of life. Diamond Way is a way of seeing things. Geshe Michael thinks it would be very cool to have an institute where Grandpa can relax with his 3 kidneys, right? They don't take one out, they just add another one in. So he'll sit there with his 3 kidneys, and he would like to tailor Diamond Way courses for all the different groups, each one with the core teaching, of course, and then he wants to translate the books. And he would like to invite other teachers to help and do the Diamond Way that way. Now, the course will be very pure. and it will be tailored to the needs of the different groups, and it will include spiritual groups and non-spiritual groups. And now at this point of the class, Geshe-la took some questions from the audience. Yes, Mr. Kramer, he says, congratulations on being here and congratulations on your book. And of course, Ben says, very grateful to be here. And Ben continues, I just thought I would put it out there from Diamond Cutter Classics, you know. We just want to translate something. Any of us would do it. We all have books, we're all busy, but I know that I speak for everyone in the group that we would be so happy if we can learn alongside with any of the work that you're doing, you know. To learn to translate that vernacular, that special language. And it would be an incredible honor for our organization. I would just love to make that request if it's appropriate. And then Geshe Michael responds, he says, I wasn't thinking to do that because I'm already overbooked, but the request is so beautiful that I cannot deny it. But Geshe-la proposed we do it as a group and not one by one because he can't do that. So he proposes we take one book as a group and translate it. Wang Shu then expressed gratitude for a DCI Diamond Way. And Geshe-la was very happy to hear this. He said, to be honest, Wang Sha, now that we have 5 advanced DCI levels, I think the DCI Diamond Way would fit very nicely into the next 7 DCI courses. So Geshe-la will teach Diamond Way in a non-religious way that every business person and every family person can use like that. And by the way, he says, the very first Diamond Way teachings were designed for business people. And people don't understand that about Diamond Way. They were designed for the first kings of the Kala Chakra, who were politicians and business owners. You know, the Diamond Way was originally designed for busy people and business owners and politicians. It was invented for them. So Geshe Michael thinks the DCI course is going to be the coolest. Tim then asked a question. This sounds like a very 5 houses approach to teaching Diamond Way. And I'm wondering if you can say a little bit more about the original 18 courses you designed. Who are they for now? How should we think about it if people are interested in those courses? Or in those courses, right? Should they do one? Should they do both? Should they do the other? And Geshe-la said, yeah, that's a good question. A couple of things, he says. Number 1, those 18 courses need to be cleaned up. He needs to finish them. So he commits to finishing them. And the 5 houses Diamond Way course will be those, okay? And he would like to retranslate a lot of the sections. He's twice as old as the Dharma. He's twice as old Dharma-wise as he was back then when he originally did them. And he's learned that by the time you finish 18 courses, you just begin to understand the first one. But his general strategy, given his age and given his health, is that he used about 10 major Diamond Way texts for those 18 courses. So he would like to publish them individually as the 10 classics, okay? He would like to give us the book of Naropa's 6 practices as a separate book. And he would like to give you the Vajrayogini practice according to the 4 or 5 different authors, and like that. And then he would like to add maybe 5 or 6 new books to that set. So he thinks the 5 houses version of the Diamond Way courses will be the most technical or the most detailed. The DCI version will be the most usable. So he's going to have both. He would like to have something everyone can use, and he would like to have something that has a strong tradition behind it, that has all the original texts. So Geshe Michael sees the 5 houses as the holder of the original courses and the information. And then there's the non-Buddhist track, right? And it's up to you which one you want to take. So Tim again asks, around the original courses, for those who are teaching them, now how should we think about that? And Geshe said he needs to clean them up, he needs to make them more accurate, and he's going to tell us something about those original courses. The conditions under which he wrote the homeworks were stressful all the time. He was totally exhausted. You know, it would be midnight preparing classes for the next day. And under those circumstances, the homeworks got way too long. Boy, that is the truth. And it doesn't help anybody. To be honest, as a course, they're too complicated to put into practice easily. And they need to be cut down, and they need to be organized tighter. And yes, it was a great course, but it needs to be tightened up, and the information has to be reduced to something you can practice in like 20 lifetimes or so, in his opinion. So that's going to take some work. But he feels up for it right now, and he feels like it's time in his life. Okay, now we're going to do class 2. He spent that whole class talking about his plan for the coming year, which was incredibly wonderful. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Okay, so Geshe started class 2 by saying that he woke up that morning at about 4 o'clock and had even more new ideas about the Diamond Way clear diamonds. He thinks in his heart that each group we have would have their own Diamond Way style or their own Diamond Way teachings, and he would like to see each organization, if they wanted, to develop their own Diamond Way curriculum, right? Their own Diamond Way influence curriculum. So he donated money to bring people to sit with Geshe, you know, at the Real Institute for Advanced Study at the Peachtree Cafe. I think a lot of you here at Diamond Mountain just came down from there. And that's where he will have the real meetings, okay? Now, Geshe also reported that he solved the Ben Kramer request. Then he sat with Jamie and his partner, Bo, and they have put thousands and thousands of classes online for free. It's called the Knowledge Base. I hope you visit that sometime. It's an incredible resource. And they've translated everything there. And Jamie has done some very advanced work with AI. Now, right now, when he finishes it, you can say, you know, I remember Grandpa said something about holding up your finger, right? And you ask AI, and the AI will take you to all the recordings and to the video directly to that class, and you'll see the 3 minutes surrounding that topic that you want to look into. They've also added translation ability from the ancient language. So you can say, I want to see ancient language for this, or I want to see which text covers it. He's doing very great work. And Geshe Michael proposes that we do that with Oscar, with John Brady, Joel Crawford, and any other catalogers that we can come up with, like Roxanne or someone, and we need to do a cataloging meeting to organize the new input center. And Jenny Wong and Candy Lai, we worked that out. So he will try to go to Singapore and Xi'an this year, depending on the kidney stuff. The Singapore people have helped our organizations for many years, like 15 or 20 years, and they have never asked Geshe Michael for anything. They just keep doing. Candy and Jenny especially. So Geshe Michael wants to honor them, and he wants to teach them. And so now all we have to do is sell it to his two bosses, Seiji and Veronica. All right, now Geshe-la is going to get on to Lamrim with us. Now, if you're just joining this course, we're reading together a short book on the steps of the path. It's called The Song of My Spiritual Life, translated by our dear Gibson Cheng, and it's a very beautiful book. Generally, Tsongkhapa did not talk about himself, almost ever. You know, you cannot find anything in history that he wrote about himself. But in this Lamrim, in this little small book, he talks about his spiritual life openly. And he thinks it's the only book where he talks about his spiritual life. Now, we're using this Lamrim to prepare our Five Houses students for the Diamond Way teachings, the clear Diamond Way teachings. And we've reached a beautiful verse in the book. And this is where we'll show slide 1, please. From the Edom 4, slide 24. It's slide 24 according to Edom 4 pack that Gina sent me. The slide that says, I, the deep practitioner, have accomplished my practice this way. And you who hope for freedom should do your practice the same. This is one of the most important verses in the book. And this is Je Tsongkhapa talking about his own life experience, which he rarely does. And in this whole book, from beginning to end, he says, look, this is how I did it, and that's how you should do it too, okay? It's very famous. They're very powerful words to recite. And we reach that point in the book now where he talks about it. And he says, this is how I did it, and that's how you should do it as well. It's very famous and very helpful. Next slide, please. So Jim, Geshe Michael, has a very strange AI. He says, it's kind of like me, you know. And what this slide is referring to is a book that we translated by somebody called Rendawa, Jetsun Rendawa. And Rendawa was the teacher of Je Tsongkhapa. So he must be pretty cool, Geshe Michael says. We translated Rendawa's commentary on Nagarjuna. Rendawa wrote a beautiful commentary on Nagarjuna's letter to a friend, which has just been released, okay? And it's an extraordinary commentary. And Geshe Michael thinks it's going to be very good for your students, a wonderful way to introduce people to Buddhism. And at this point in the Lamrim, we're talking about having a good death and having a good rebirth. We're not to the Bodhisattva section yet. We didn't reach that yet. What we're talking about now is, how can you live a better death? How can you have a better death? How can you prepare a nice body and a nice family for your next life, right? That's the next thing to think about. And it's interesting for those of us who are older, you know, or who are getting kidney operations, you know, you start to listen to this stuff more closely. And Rendawa's like, how can you arrange to continue your Buddhist career past your death? You know, and Geshe Michael says it's very cool and it's very smart, you know, it's a very good idea. How can you get ready? Now, Geshe Michael says these high teachers are so cool, you know. They don't think of death as anything but a short interruption. You know, they're not thinking that this life is everything, and then you're going to die, and then something bad's going to happen. They just see death, you know, as a few minutes in the car before you get to your next destination. And Rendawa is very insistent that you have to set up a good body for next time right now. And Geshe Michael said this twice. You have to set up a good body for next time right now. As you get older, or as you get closer to your own death, it's something that you will get more and more interested in. You know, you have a good body now. You're lucky you can travel. But Rendawa was like, you know, how do you keep that for the next life? How do you get it for your next life? So Geshe Michael is encouraging us. If you're under 72 to 99, you know, he says you can't really hear what I'm saying. So he's telling us, he's just telling us now, anyway. He knows you're not listening, because you'll remember it 20 years from now or 30 years from now. But there will come a time in your life when you'll say, oh, I am so glad Geshe-la taught us how to have a good body next time. I'm already saying that. How to have a good family next time, you know? How to be born into a good country next time. And Rendawa says, bottom line, you know, it's all how you treat other people. It's all how you treat other people. So he's saying, treat other people nice so you can continue your bodhisattva career in a good body, you know, in a healthy body, in an intelligent mind. He's not saying, if you don't want to get cancer in this life, be nice to other people. He's not saying that. He's saying you will get cancer in this life, or you may. You will die, and you will have to start thinking now about your next body. This is a classic teaching that falls on deaf ears. People just cannot hear it. You know, if you don't have cancer now, if you're not sick, you can't hear it. So Geshe Michael says, I'm just putting seeds in your mind right now, okay? And then we got to talk about this verse, mainly keeping your morality, okay? Mainly not killing, mainly not stealing, not sexual misconduct like that, all right? Then Geshe-la says, next picture, you dudes, please. Next picture, please, you dudes. So Geshe-la chose this picture. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my screen, it didn't shift. Come back up, please. Oh, this one, yes, please. So Geshe Michael chose this picture. He doesn't remember why, and sometimes he doesn't remember why. But it's meant to show the 4 powers of confession, how to clean bad seeds from your mind. And Renda's interesting. He says, listen, I could teach you how to be a good person, but you won't do it, you know? He says, I can teach you what are good things to do, you know, the 10 good deeds and stuff. I can teach you that, but you won't be able to keep it. You know, a normal human being, they will somehow lie just a little bit, you know. Somehow they'll just steal a little bit. You know, somehow they just won't be totally generous. And he says, let's assume you're not going to be pure. Let's assume you're going to make mistakes in your life. And of course, you know, we all make mistakes. If you think you're pure, that's a definite sign that you're not pure. And if you think you're not pure, Geshe-la says you might be pure. But you are going to make mistakes. In your life, we all make mistakes. And Geshe Michael thinks as teachers, we have to admit it. So he thinks a teacher would say honestly, you know, look, I have this problem. I'm jealous. You know, I'm very proud. I like to brag about how many books I wrote. And we're all going to make mistakes. So Tsongkhapa says here, learn how to clean up the mess. Get good at cleaning up the mess. Become a master Geshe mess cleaner upper. Okay? Learn how to clean up your bad seeds. And then he teaches the 4 powers. Here are the main things about how to clean a bad seed. 1 is to admit you have it. And it's important to say the mistakes that you've made, and it's important to admit them to yourself. If you cannot talk about your biggest mistakes with other people, then probably you cannot clean them. So Geshe Michael thinks it's important to tell somebody, okay? To clean a negative seed, it's really important to tell somebody. Geshe Michael likes to have a bad seed friend, someone he can talk to privately and say, look, I got this problem. I do this bad thing. Geshe says he got into this habit with his teacher. His teacher was very, he wasn't warm and fuzzy. And he was real tough, It was really hard to go to him and say, I made a mistake. The 4 powers means be open. At least have one friend in your life who you can tell all your stuff, okay, without holding back. The main thing, by the way, is the mental ones. Like, I was thinking to murder my associate at work, and your friend's going like, wow, you look like a nice person. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking, should I use a gun or not? Geshe says, we do a lot of things mentally, and those thoughts are very, very powerful. And so Nkapa is recommending, have a friend in your life who you trust and tell them your worst things. Do not have any hidden ones, okay? Because when you have a hidden one, when you keep it, you die with it. It goes with you to your next life. So to protect your future self, to protect yourself when you die, be honest. Be 100% honest, okay? Have one person who won't kick you out of the room or lock the door. Or Arya truths. It's the next topic in the Slam Rim. So when Lord Buddha became the Buddha, he had 5 disciples, remember, who were the tiger cubs. And it was like 49 days or 7 weeks that he refused to teach. He got enlightened, and then he refused to teach. And then he started the first teaching he ever gave in Deer Park. And the first thing he ever taught was the 4 truths. Okay, 4 truths. Try to understand this. Truth sounds like a law or a principle, right? I'll teach you the 4 principles, or I'll teach you the 4 laws. They are not, okay? They are not laws. Laws are interesting in Buddhist logic because they are unchanging. They're one of the only unchanging things. Principles are unchanging, they don't get less or more. And by the way, Geshe Michael said, they were mistranslated in English for many years when they called them the 4 Noble Truths, because the word Arya means higher or elevated. It means higher up. Noble is a bad translation and nothing to do with the word Arya. They are called Arya truths because they are experiences that an Arya has. Following the direct perception of emptiness, in the next few hours after seeing emptiness directly, every Arya sees these truths, these experiences. Every Arya sees the same thing. Anyway, Arya truth is not a truth. It's not a fact. It's not a statement. It's an experience. It's a thing that you experience. So like suffering, pain, right? If you have a toothache, you're experiencing one of the Arya truths. It's not the statement that the toothache hurts. It's the thing itself. The pain itself is the first Arya truth. And this means the thing itself, right? Now, why do they call them Arya truths? Because only a person who has seen emptiness directly sees these four truths as they are, okay? You can learn them. You can learn about them. You can learn to repeat them and all the 16 aspects, but you don't have the direct experience that an Arya has of them. And so Geshe Michael wants to talk a little bit about the four truths and the 16 aspects. And he wants to share with us some of the experience of a person who has just come out of the direct perception of emptiness, because those are the four Arya truths. Those are the four Arya truths, he says again. Nothing else is the four Arya truths. They are not written in books. They are experienced by Aryas, and only by an Arya fully are they experienced. So Geshe suggests it'd be interesting if you have an Arya around to listen to their experience. And as an aside, I ask, what kind of seeds did we plant for such glorious luminous images to arise that we do have an Arya around, right? Is this amazing to everybody else? So then Geshe thinks it would be interesting to try to connect those experiences to the 16 aspects, because they should line up. They should correlate. When dear Geshe Michael came out of the direct perception, one of the things he saw, and by the way, he says here, this is not during the direct perception of emptiness. During the direct perception of emptiness, you cannot see anything else. It's impossible. You cannot even see your own mind. And the most frustrating thing is, while you are in your first direct perception of emptiness, you cannot frame the thought, I did it. Because you cannot think, I. And you cannot think, did. And you cannot think, it. You can just be in emptiness. You are not aware of thinking or perceiving. You're not aware of yourself, because yourself is not emptiness. You are swimming in emptiness. You cannot perceive anything else. Then when you come out, you start to see the 16 aspects. Why are we talking about this, Geshe? And he answered, because if you really appreciate some of those aspects, you will take care that you do not have a bad rebirth. Okay? If you really appreciate the 16 aspects, you will be very scared to plant any bad seeds, because you know what's coming, okay? So he's going to share a few things. Here are some of the 16 aspects. First of all, you see your own death, right? You see your death. Now, we all know we're going to die, right? We've seen many people die. We all believe we're going to die, yet nobody really thinks they're going to die. And if you're an Arya, when you come out, you see your death. There's no question about it. You see the day that you will die, and it's very powerful. And Geshe Michael thinks it's kind of liberating, right? You also see, very typically, that you will have to live 7 more lifetimes to reach enlightenment. So you know very clearly, for certain, and at worst, he said, let's put it that way, if you don't practice Diamond Way, you have 7 lifetimes to go. Geshe Michael saw that after he saw emptiness. And he saw it on the same day in the same temple where he saw emptiness. And then later, he read it in the Abhidharma. And there's a word there, Lendumbawa. Lendumbawa means Arya with 7 lifetimes to go, okay? Including this one. So 6 more to go. And Geshe Michael said he was freaked out. He was like, damn, that means someone else saw emptiness. That means I'm not crazy. So by the way, you also see that you're not crazy. But he saw the word after he experienced it. And Geshe Michael thought that was really cool. So your death is like that. And your next 7 lifetimes are like that. And you see it clearly. And somehow it's a very beautiful thing. Then you see your enlightenment. You see yourself as a Buddha. And that's very sexy, he said. That's really cool. How does that affect your mental affliction level? Like, what happens when someone says, I'm going to fire you, or clean the toilet, or other kinds of bad news like your kidney's failing, How does that affect the way you live? Geshe Michael says it changes everything, right? If you see yourself as a Buddha within 7 lifetimes, nothing bothers you that much, There are still irritating people who irritate you. Someone recently told Geshe-la, you're not an Arya. And Geshe-la says, why not? And they said, you still get upset. Well, when you become an Arya, you do not get rid of your upset. That comes later, and that's called Arhat, okay? Aryas have lots of problems. They have all kinds of mental afflictions, except for doubt, because they saw their own Buddhahood. So you do get rid of doubt, and that's the main thing. You cannot doubt Buddhism anymore. Now here's a question for you guys. Doesn't an Arya see things coming from their own side after they come out of the direct perception of emptiness? And Geshe-la said, yeah, the answer is yes. But the habit is so old and the habit is so strong that when you come down out of a direct perception of emptiness, deep down things still look like they're coming, this way. The difference is that now you don't believe it, okay? How often do you not believe it? Well, not all the time. And that's something interesting. Aryas forget themselves every once in a while, especially if they're jealous or upset or something like that in the depths of a negative emotion. Aryas can get angry and they can get jealous because they can forget what they saw, but not completely, okay? Even an Arya sometimes forgets where things are coming from. You do not eliminate your mental afflictions the day you see emptiness directly, but you do damage them, okay? And by the way, Geshe-la said, after that, this is interesting, you cannot collect karma to be reborn. Those 7 lifetimes are propelled by past karma, not by any new karma. You make no new bad karma of that type anymore. You cannot have an 8th life or a 9th life. It's never going to happen after you see emptiness directly. Okay, kids, dear Geshe-la says, these are things that if you know them, you can practice Diamond Way better. And he'll keep telling us, we'll keep talking about it together. And he'll be honest, he says, if you can meet an Arya and you can hear these things firsthand, it's much, much stronger and much more powerful. And so we're all really lucky to have this chance together. So now we go to class 3. And Geshe Michael didn't quite finish talking about the Arya truths, right? And remember, I'm giving this transmission to you almost word for word, so you are hearing his words. These are not my words. So I think it's very cool that you are hearing these words from an Arya firsthand. Okay. So Geshe Michael thinks it's very good for you to hear these things from Grandpa. So we talked about seeing your death directly, right? You see your death. And strangely, after that, you feel very relaxed all the time, right? Even if you get into a very dangerous situation, you kind of feel comfortable. Another thing you see in those 3 minutes, maybe in his case, he stayed in the temple for almost an hour, right? And then he went to sell his car to buy a diamond and offer it to the Buddha. Now, in the temple where he saw emptiness, there's a set of kangyurs, 990 ancient books from India spoken by Lord Buddha. And Geshe Michael thinks it's the only wood-carved set in South or North America, and it's in that temple. He was looking at it, and he was thinking, you know, as an Arya, you get this strange feeling looking at those books, you know. First of all, you want to prostrate to it. You know, on that day, when you become an Arya, you just throw yourself on the floor, no hesitation. You just throw yourself down. And Geshe Michael thinks he did his first real prostration in his life on that day. And as he was looking at the books, he got this intense understanding that these books must survive in this world. If they don't survive, it's like the sunlight went out. Imagine the sun burned up, right? If those books disappear, if we don't take care of those books, if we don't translate them, if they're not available, then this world does not have a sun, okay? We have a physical sun, but not a real sun. It's more important than he can say. And it's not that we can all understand them easily, right? It's not that everyone's going to read them on the bus, he says. But they are the most precious thing in the world. If they disappear, this world is like hell. And Geshe Michael says, you know, we don't understand and we don't believe it, but if you see emptiness, you do know that. Then, when you look at the paintings in that temple, as an Arya, you throw yourself down again in front of them and you say, oh my gosh, you know, all these paintings are true. You know, all these beings really exist. You know, there's some great excitement in looking at a statue or a painting after you know that that person is alive and real. Okay, now, next picture, please. Yes, perfect, thank you. Now, Jetson Kappa, in this verse, he talks about the mechanism of pain, how pain causes you trouble. And it's talking about an idea called nyongmong. And in Sanskrit, it's klesha. And this means any movement of the mind which disturbs the peace of mind of the person who has it in their mind, okay? That's the definition of a negative thought. And Geshe is calling it negative thought nowadays, right? Now, Geshe Michael says here that he's not going to see you again at this point until Diamond Mountain, which in our case is like tomorrow. And he wants to give you a homework assignment until he sees us again, which is tomorrow. So here's the homework. This picture is talking about the cycle of trouble, the cycle of pain, right? It's like a machine, a trouble machine, and that machine will cause you trouble, okay? This machine needs gasoline, okay? And the best gasoline for this machine is when other people bother you, okay? Other people irritate you, you know? You meet people and they say something stupid or they do something stupid, and this is the fuel that runs that machine, okay? That makes your life unhappy. And Geshe Michael has a proposal for you. Maybe you can check yourself once a day until he sees you again at Diamond Mountain or online from Diamond Mountain. So, you know, our Holy Lama, he's very, very, very busy person. He said that 3 times. because he's very clear what he wants to do in his life. He has a plan. He has things he wants to do. He knows they will help people. So he really knows what he needs to do with his time, right? Every minute of the day, he has no question. He knows exactly what he has to do to help people. And he cannot waste time. It's very, very uncomfortable for an Arya to waste time. And evidently, we have no idea, right? It's like you have to go to the bathroom really bad. And he's not even talking number one. He's talking number two. If you lose time when you're an Arya, you cannot get it back. And then you become a little bit crazy. And he doesn't know how to describe it, but it's very, very uncomfortable for him to waste time in any way. It literally hurts his chest. Something happens and he feels really bad. Now, get this. You are in the same place. You know, we're all in the same place. You don't have unlimited time either, okay? Geshe Michael always thinks about Warren Buffett, right? He now has $161 billion. Now, what happened to Warren Buffett this year? Okay, he retired. Okay, he didn't die yet. And usually you retire 1 year, and then you die the next year. But Mr. Buffett's out of time. He ran out of time. He's a wonderful man, a good person. And Geshe Michael really respects him. And he says he's really cool. But with $161 billion, he cannot buy one more hour. If you ask him, would you like to buy 2 years of my time? And will you give me $100 billion? Right? He would agree. You know, he would agree. Yeah, I'll pay anything. It doesn't matter. Money I have. I don't have time. So you see, we are all the same. We are all the same. You only have a little time in this life, okay? You only have a little time. And you meet irritating people in your life every day. And you're going to meet people who cause you trouble. It happens to everybody. Everybody meets people day to day, hour to hour, who say something or do something to you which is wrong and stupid. And then you start to think, oh, this person hurt me. Oh, this person is bothering me. Now you're wasting your time, okay? He'll say it again. When you think about somebody who says something to you or does something to you, and you're like, I don't like this person. I don't like what they did. If I see them today, you know, I'm going to tell them something. You know, you make all these plans in your heart. During those planning times, you are wasting your life, and you cannot get it back, okay? Now, then that person, they didn't say something bad to you. They didn't hurt you. They stole your life, okay? And nobody can give it back to you. So Geshe is saying here that you have control. You can decide. Geshe asks you until we meet again at Diamond Mountain tomorrow, look at this machine. This is the machine of trouble, and this is the machine of pain, and its gasoline is other people who bother you, who cause you trouble, people who hurt you. And Geshe Michael is saying, sitting here as an Arya on his birthday, it was his birthday during this class, just shut up in your own mind, go on with your life, and don't give them any time, okay? And the demons, right, the ones who want to hurt you, they'll be so irritated. If you'd like to make our dear Geshe Michael a birthday offering, just tell your mind, shut up. Let's think about something else, okay? And Geshe suggests there's always bagel shops, coffee shops, donut shops, you know. There are other things you can think about. So understand, he's asking you right now as a birthday present, do not waste 5 minutes thinking about somebody who hurt you or someone who bothered you. Please, 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 just say, let's forget it. Now, get this. In 2 years, you won't remember. In 2 weeks, you won't remember. So, You cannot remember today, okay? You can do advanced not remembering starting now. And that's an excellent way to prepare for the next time we meet, okay? Your mind will be ready, your mind will be open, and he'll repeat. Someone's bothering you, someone's giving you trouble, let's make a promise. What do you promise? If you get irritated at somebody, until the next time we meet, here's the deal. And he went on and on about this, right? This is really important to him. If someone upsets you or hurts you, do you promise not to waste your time thinking about them and move on right away? You're going to move on in 5 years, in 10 years, in 100 years. So you can move on now, okay? So you understand the deal? Okay, now on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I promise. Oh, cool. Okay, Geshe-la likes that. He said, that's the best present you could give him. So wonderful. Now, Geshe-la says, you'll forget, but please try to remember sometimes. When you start thinking about this person who bothered you, just try to remember today, okay? They did bother you. We're not saying they didn't bother you. They were bad to you. You know, we didn't say they were not bad to you. But don't give them your precious life. Just move on now, okay? Move on right away. This person hurt me. Okay, what's for breakfast? And that's Geshe-la's attitude. And that's your homework, okay? That's the most difficult kind of homework, by the way. It's very difficult. Okay, next picture, you guys, please. Okay, AI did pretty good here, Geshe-la said. She just heard there's no yuzu ice cream. Now, nobody knows yuzu ice cream. Yuzu is a Japanese grapefruit. She just heard there was a shortage of yuzu last year, and Geshe Michael came to Japan and had to eat American ice cream. He was not happy. And the caption here says, we can get out, but we have to stop pretending everything is all right. Now, Geshe Michael thinks in his childhood, when he was growing up, he went to India when he was about 19 to study. He remembers he had his 20th birthday in India. And Geshe Michael had never seen a dead body in his whole life when he was growing up. He knew people died, but he never actually saw anybody die. Now, in America, we're protected, you know, from dead bodies. Our parents protect us, and it's not so common to see a dead person. We don't see death in America. And the first dead person he saw in India was in the foothills of the Himalayas, you know. People would tie the body to the top of a taxi and drive it to the funeral place, you know. A taxi passed him with a man tied on top. And Geshe Michael asks, you know, what's wrong with that guy? And they said, oh, he's dead. As a Lam Rim student, as a Diamond Way student, you must think about death, okay? If you can be around dead people, it's a good thing. They won't hurt you, and they rarely hit you. You think they're dirty, they're not dirty, they're just dead. And you're going to go there too. Someone will be the last person to die in this room. Someone will die first. It's not necessarily the oldest person. The Lord of Death doesn't check your age, you know. Young people die in accidents, and we don't know when. Now, there's a Steve Jobs meditation we do in DCI Global. Steve Jobs had a pancreatic cancer. At the time, he was one of the wealthiest people in the world. He gave a graduation speech at Stanford that you can watch online. And he said he was comfortable with dying because every morning when brushing his teeth, he told himself, today might be my last day. Now, Geshe-la says this sounds depressing. He knows. But actually, it makes you feel great because it's honest, you know. Usually, we lie to ourselves and we think we won't die today. You know, if you know you're going on a trip, Geshe Michael reminds us again, pack your bag now. Put the suitcase under your bed. Maybe you don't need it today, but be ready. Prepare for death now. And if you don't die today, you had a good day. So Geshe Michael says death meditation makes people happier because they stop lying to themselves. Okay, next picture, please. We have to stop at 5 o'clock sharp, right? Okay. I'm sorry, I want to rush, but I'm not supposed to, huh? Now this guy is trying to figure out what keeps him in this suffering life. J. Tsongkhapa says, you know you're going to die. Now try to understand why, right? It's simply because you don't understand emptiness. If you understood emptiness deeply enough, you could stop death, right? People tell me they're sad. I might die 7 more times, right? And Geshe Michael tells them, you might die 7 billion more times, you know? I'll take 7. The wheel of life ends in death, okay? Link number 1 is ignorance, not understanding how mental seeds open into experience. So when you meet somebody irritating, try to notice the pictures coming from your mind. When you're emotional, wisdom cannot function. So forget the irritation, forget the emotions, and focus on the practice, okay? This is how we stop death. Buddha didn't stop all irritating people in the world. They simply stopped experiencing irritation, right? Good point. You cannot eliminate all difficult people. So relax and focus on the practice, because you don't have time to do both, to be irritated and to practice Dharma. You have to choose, okay? That's your power. Next picture, please. Okay, Geshe Michael asked AI to show 2 hands with chains, and these represent the 2 causes of suffering, mental afflictions and karma, okay? A mental affliction is any thought that disturbs your peace of mind. The other cause, the other chain is karma, mental seeds. You carry billions of seeds, and any strange experience can arise from past action. Now in DCI, we call them mental seeds instead of karma. So you were born with limitations, physical, cultural, emotional, right? The cards are stacked against you from past lives. And that's why the struggle is double hard. Next picture, please. So Geshe-la asked the AI to show a group of old friends. These are your old friends, jealousy, doubt, and pride, right? Jealousy has lived in your mind a long time. Then there's doubt, not intelligent doubt, but stupid doubt, right? Stupid doubt means refusing to investigate teachings because of laziness. Intelligent doubt questions wisely. Remember, there's that Lam Rim story. A teacher tells 3 students to rob a bank, right? 2 run away immediately. 1 stays, and the teacher says, one stays and asks the teacher, you don't really mean that. And the teacher says, oh, I have 1 good student. Okay, that's intelligent doubt. Now, another old friend here in this picture is pride, feeling superior when praised. In the Lam Rim, it says, ultimately, we are just food for insects. And Geshe-la tries not to step on red ants near his driveway, but then he drives over them with his car. And recently he thought he might die during surgery, be reborn as an ant, and his wife might run over him before returning home. You know, it is possible. Now it's 5 o'clock. How should we conclude? Should I say tune in tomorrow or catch me online, or should I keep going? I only have a little more. I can't hear you. Catch Up Online, okay. There's a Telegram group called Catch Up. Just sign on there, and I offer these catch-up classes regularly at request. But I want to give Geshe Michael's closing words. He feels very grateful and very lucky to have so many good people. It's a great honor for him to teach you. It's very hard to find people who want to hear these teachings. You are rare people. Each of you is 1 in a million. and it makes him very happy that you listen so carefully, okay? That's the best birthday present he can have. And as long as he can, he will keep coming here so he can eat more cake.
Wow, what a meaningful start today, right? Please leave comment on the chat below your feeling and gratitude to teacher Katie for sharing and guiding us
It is our teacher, and it's like
through this
his words
catch-up
coming
course.
straight through.
Yeah. And thank you all for your presence and focus today. Please take a good rest, and we will see you back here in 1 hour. And be proud of yourself. Thank you, everyone, for joining with us